Yo, man, we got a construction zone here. Currently dealing with construction. HFR from the floor, mistrade, Matt Davio, Market Vitals, .io is the website. Market Vitals is the show. It's a Tuesday, Matt, a terrible Tuesday, a beautiful Tuesday. It really depends on your point of view.
Gorgeous out. Bluebird just singing outside my office window again this morning as he visits every morning. I love the bluebirds out in the Oregon side of things are very different than the bluebirds back in Michigan. I don't know about your bluebirds in Illinois, but the bluebirds here, Bob, are mean, nasty, and they're pretty territorial. So watch out.
Let's clarify. Are you talking like scrub jays, the Stellar jays?
I don't know.
Jays or
bluebirds. They definitely look like a jay, but they look a little different blue than the bluebirds we had back in the Midwest. The ones in the Midwest.
The Stellar Jay is my favorite bird out here. He's fucking awesome. Got the big old.
Yeah, like almost like the
Roman. He's got the Roman Legion.
The cockhead. Yeah, like he's the the cock and the hen in the hen house.
I'm at.
It's a put on.
Matt asked me this morning if I liked the Who. And I had said to him, there was a bar that I frequented often as a youngster, the Limerick Lounge in Antioch, Illinois. Great jukebox. And this song in particular, Eminence Front, we wore the grooves out of this song on the jukebox. And we talked about what a great band. And I got to tell you, there is nobody, I'm going to say this, there's still people fucking killing it in jazz. As far as I'm concerned, there's still some very innovative music. There's still great, country. There's still great, I would say, folk music being made. But Matt, talk about a vacuum in rock opera and 6-minute songs. Let's just talk to Who for a little bit.
Yeah, Eminence Front, what a great lyric also. It's a put on, Eminence Front is what we're living through right now, and it's a put on. And this song was written 40 years ago, Bob, so it was in 1981. And as I said to you before we came on air, that was a really crazy time in the UK because of the religious strife that had been happening really for 15, 20 years between the Protestants and the Catholics. Well, more than 15 years, but it was really violent then, right, with all the bombs and everything. And you had a shitty economy. It was UK was a lot like where I grew up, Detroit, it's an industrial place mostly that, had no more industry, and people were out of work. And so they were, putting on, had this religious strife between two Christian groups, which, is interesting to think about, but every sperm is sacred. So.
Absolutely.
And that came out that same period also, the whole Monty Python, right? The meaning of life. And that was the satire on that whole move.
It's amazing to me too, Matt, because it seems that satire, unless it's against Trump, then it's fine. But
all satire is gone unless it's against Trump. It's exactly
right,
true.
Exactly, or somebody with.
You can't show a meme to people that references Hunter Biden, but you can sure pick on Don Jr. That's fine.
Matt, the Eminence Front, it's far and wide, and I'm not sure what I was. The whole fucking science has evolved in 2 weeks on masks, and then the evolution of Fauci, that prick, saying, "Hey, listen, I know it was bullshit, but I didn't want to,
didn't want to scare you.
I didn't want to message anything other than what's on my messaging list."
Yeah, and we've all seen the video of him putting on the mask before the cameras come in, and then he takes it off when the cameras go out. Yeah.
And then, Matt, this out from Marty Armstrong recently, a new article. And a lot coming out about Bill Gates, and if you cannot see, he talks about connecting the dots of influence.
You don't even have to be in the markets to realize what's going on here, right?
Well, when they spend $10 billion on advertising for the jab, it gets my attention that maybe it's not always about health and human services. Matt, sometimes it's Bob, about the fucking money. Let's just call it.
I meant to send this one to you, but I saw one of these that showed, the advertising from the 50s and 60s with doctor says it's okay to have a cigarette while you're pregnant, or two.
Oh
or
yeah,
three.
yeah. And the doctors recommended more. Back to the Eminence Front here. Like everything is a headline, and everything is marketing. And this Spain to end fossil fuel production by 2042 under new climate change fucking mandate bullshit. And our girl Shy Girl points out that's great, but you don't produce any. So
Right.
it's like me saying I'm gonna fucking lose weight, and I'm gonna stop eating at
Pizza.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
Right? I never go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
Like, so how's that going to help my weight loss? I'm going to go see my doctor tomorrow, and I'm going to tell, listen, I know you want me to lose weight, and what I'm going to do is stop going to Dunkin' Donuts. And they'll be like, oh, that's great. I fucking never go. So me stopping.
Or as we did as kids when it came up to Lent, I'm going to give up Brussels sprouts.
My friend Davio's Jimmy Urio will go to his deathbed saying that Brussels sprouts suck. And I've tried to tell him, Jimmy, there's some. I mean, we had to give a quick shout out here to Hotep. Jesus, think while it's still legal. Say what you want about Hotep, but he is on the front lines in the African American community. He's hosting the Conference of Masculine Excellence, and I love the last part of that, excellence. And we've talked about this on the show numerous times. Where has the excellence gone? Where has striving to be the best of the best of the best?
Right.
And anyway, I just wanted to bring it up and give a shout out to Hotep.
And we were, we talked about this. Rogan's talking about this. Like, speak up. Be your most excellent self, and it all kind of comes together, because I think there's plenty of excellent men out there, and they're just kind of like quietly self-muzzling, or they're going off the deep end and raging, right? So we need more, I'll put this out there. Listen, Glenn Greenwald is a man of excellence. He's a gay liberal writing about what's really going on in the world today. I mean, that's excellence to me. I mean, that's a perfect.
And he's got an opinion, and he doesn't care.
It may not, and a lot of it may not align with even what he believes, but he's willing to be a professional. He's a lawyer, and be excellent, right? And respect the laws and the rights that we have as individuals and as humans, and write about it in a way that is so excellent. I want to point, we should have a new, point in our show, Bob, where we point out men of excellence.
I would love that. I'll start with you, Matt. You're an excellent slouch. Judge Schmales. Matt, listen, we're going to talk price discovery, because everything leads to price, right? Follow the fucking money. And we talk about that all the time in many things that regard trading, like follow the chart. What are the strong hands? What are the weak hands? Who's long? Who's short? The money's the thing that isn't important. And the money shows up in the chart. Matt, this was a tweet that I saw today, and it's Brazil's the world's, and I did not know this, by the way. Brazil, the world's biggest exporter of coffee, sugar, and orange juice. And we talked about orange juice early in the spring, actually in the winter, right, when we had the polar vortex collapse, and OJ got a nice boost. And now with a dry, rainy season, going to severely impact production of coffee, sugar, and orange juice. Matt, bring up the orange juice chart, because it looks to me like it wants to make another leg higher. And if the world's largest producer is going to see less oranges.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Bob. And the chart's been pretty good here for a while. This is a daily chart, just to give you reference time frame. And again, we're kind of, we got this higher end kind of top that if we can break out of it, I think we'll probably go and test. But if you're not long right now, I would wait for a pullback, maybe into the 113s, 114s. We're trading 118 right now. If we can get a pullback, buy it. And this move was just pretty powerful from 106 here just in the beginning of this month. So it just had a big move. So we're not suggesting you hop on the momentum train unless you.
I am.
Bob likes it, but I wait for pullbacks always, better pricing. I'm
No,
patient.
I agree that, and I got to tell you, man, that this is part of something that I struggle with all the time in my trading is being patient and waiting for that pullback. And
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with I'm very comfortable on the short side. I would actually be more inclined to short something like this right now with a stop above, this old high, this recent high that we saw in the year. So, again, there's two ways to look at this. I would actually short it with a stop, above that on a close and wait for a pullback then to buy. But it is a bullish chart. It has been for the whole year. I mean, this is February when we were talking about the vortex and it went from, 106 to almost 120, and then again settled back into it, kind of back into the range. So the range is really pretty locked in here, 106, 120, and we're at 118. So again, play the bracket for now, brackets and rackets.
brackets and rackets.
That's really what you have, and until it breaks out of that again, it's not, the momentum's not really your friend here. But that's why I'm, again, I kind of look at things a little bit differently than Bob does from a momentum perspective. And it's when you go up this far in a week, $10, that's a huge move. I'm not looking to chase it unless it breaks out, but it looks
Right
good.
on.
It looks very bullish to me, Bob.
Matt, there's not a lot of price discovery here because there's no futures on
Honeydews.
on honeydew melons. I just wanted to point out this graphic I saw was tweeted by the Western Growers Association. How much California has captured, and you want to talk about a monoculture and a mono area when water problems continue to happen there, a drought. We're a little bit dry here in the West right here. And I don't know, man. I just remember growing up, man, there was so much more produce grown in the Midwest. And this graphic just kind of blew me away. I just wanted to bring it up just to widen your all eyes that we are not only are we in a monoculture, but California is producing pretty much everything that we're eating.
Right. Everything.
Take it for what it's worth.
Yep.
Matt, back onto the commodities super cycle. We talk about the fact that sooner or later, the price affects behavior, right? And this one, by the way, when I saw this, Matt, when you shared this, I thought, how did they get Tom Brady to pose for this?
It does look like him.
Identical.
Yeah.
Housing starts crash as rising costs crimp. Fuck yeah, right. They crimp it. When your house, when the lumber is $90,000 versus $22,000, a bunch of people say hard no, letter Kenny.
Right.
On building something new. Housing starts crashed 9.5% in March, and the lumber had been a leading indicator on this. Is that it topped a couple weeks ago? Yeah.
Yeah, well, not quite a couple weeks, but pretty close. And we've been talking about it and watch it. And here you go. It's down 27% now in less than 2 weeks, Bob. 1713 today, down to 1260. And it's basically, it was a slow chugging runaway train to the upside. Now this thing is downhill, no brakes on the down. And this is why, quite honestly, this is when things go parabolic. I love to be a short seller because you just got to be patient and sized properly. And if you can ride it out, these things pay, huge and fast. And it's not looking very pretty to me right now. And again, just the top of, this is a daily chart. So just to get back into the kind of the meat of the profile is somewhere around $760, Bob. That's still $500 away from where we are today. And we will trade back there.
Even at 760, it's another halving of that to where it's been for 20 years.
Exactly. But the thing is, I mean, you look at a weekly or monthly and it starts to get even crazier, right? This is a monthly chart. I mean, look at these candles. You on the momentum side, you're probably frothing. You probably want to buy it now. But
no, I missed it.
Yeah.
I got to tell you too, a lot of times on momentum plays, if you don't get it early, it's
you had to buy it
leveraged as lumber.
You had to buy it on a test of 500 here, which was back in October, right? That was which I would have never bought it, but that's again what momentum guys do. That's a monthly chart, and I sure would not have expected it to go 3x from the buy in October by May 1st. So that's an insane move. And again, it comes down to, I saw this today. What did I see? We're in a sad market, Bob. Do you know what that means? It was written by.
No, I never heard of that term.
A sad market is a supply and demand market.
I always thought all markets were supply and demand.
Well, but they're not always. But I would say in this case, right, the demand is not going to be there for like you said, $90,000 for the framing for your house versus 10 a year ago. I'll wait.
You know what? Too. Let's face it. Humans are always selfish and always look after their best interest, right?
Yep.
And so if you're a lumber producer and you see these prices, like you aren't going to carve every 2x4 a foot available. And so not only is demand going to come off, but supply is going to go through the fucking roof.
Right. It's going to push the price even lower. That's exactly right. So just as the press is telling us that housing starts crash, they don't really understand the reason why. And the reason why does have to do with the the supply and demand of what's going on. And that's not always the case. I mean, in many instances, we've been in a market where commodities have been cheap, and there's been really, it's been a race to the bottom. And now with, this falsely created mask wearing fear society, people now have pulled back and constrained themselves and are concerned, or, not sure if their job's coming back or if they'll have their job next week. So, all those things play into the demand of all these commodities, whether it's tomatoes, honeydews, or lumber, right? So it's, this is a real deal. And again, go back to your macro, micro, marginal utility. I can spend money on other things right now until lumber gets back into, something else. So now I can spend money on, cocoa because it's cheaper than lumber. So whatever it is, people are shifting and moving, and that supply demand line is very relevant again. So that I just wanted to point that out, that the relevance matters at some point. Supply and demand.
Absolutely. And to think that people aren't rational, especially when it comes to money, is ludicrous.
Right.
Like people make decisions based on it, and that shows up in price.
Yep.
And activity. And Matt, let me just talk about this latest zero hedge snippet that I got here. Going towards this, and everybody was talking about how the digital yuan and how China is several years ahead of us in creating a digital currency. And this is pointing out that it's a giant flop so far,
right,
in China, because not many people want, especially, like, can you imagine being in China and really, I got to imagine deep down, they live in fear and they don't trust the government, that the government won't fuck them if the government needs to.
Yeah.
And so if you can hold money that the government can't just arbitrarily take away in a digital environment. And that's the problem with these central bank digital currencies, is they're not decentralized. The government gets to hold all the private keys to all the money. I don't know. I thought it's an interesting read. Everything zero hedge for me is always thought provoking and interesting read.
And he was
and the other thing he pointed out here was all this clamor about how the yuan is going to take over as the world reserve currency. I did not know this. He points out in the article, I think I'm remembering it right, that it's only about 3% of the world reserve currency transactions are done in the digital, are in the yuan, not the digital yuan, the regular yuan. And it's because nobody trusts the Chinese government. And, that's not going to, until they can address the trust factor, it doesn't become the world reserve currency.
Well, and
the U.S. is on a trust level, it's still the best option.
I would argue that the U.S. is a slippery, really slippery slope, towards the place where China is right now too. So, and I'm still long the dollar. That being said, U.S. is kind of going the same way. If you can't prove your viability in the marketplace, as a currency, who's gonna?
Matt, we haven't talked about that dollar index in particular. Why don't you bring it up and let's talk dollar index
I want you to bring yours up actually, because I always like to start with yours. I want to see your 3-day chart on your.
Right on. Hold on.
And you
And it
should
is
be all.
not looking healthy, Matt.
No, it's been just dripping away.
In fact, it looks to me like it wants to go not only retest, this is the 3-day dollar index. Not only does it look to me like it wants to test this double bottom,
Yeah.
and that low is 89.20.
Yep.
But when you look at the standard deviation modeling, Matt, there's no help from the collar at that level, 89.20. And people love buying double bottoms. I love buying double bottoms when they actually match up with the standard deviation exhaustion level also, two things. And I would like to buy, and so I'm not particularly thrilled about that double bottom because you got room now to 88.93. Not only is it 88.93 lower than the double bottom, but it's falling away.
Right.
It's falling away potentiality to the downside. And so
it's accelerating, but the top end
exactly.
is not. The top end is not. The top
Yeah.
end is not, but yeah.
And I got to tell you, I see this type of setup all the time in other commodities. And when people want to tell me about a fundamental play of why you should be buying this double bottom, to me, it's like, that's great, but it's a falling knife and there's falling away potentiality. Why would I want to jump in there and be the magician that picks the bottom?
Well, and I would, okay. So counterpoint?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, bring it up, man.
Okay. What I would say, Bob, is yes, I agree with most of what you said. And however, we've also been going down now for, the good part of 6 weeks. March 31st was this high when we were running. And, that was when the market was going down, if you'll recall. So we still haven't had a market correction. Okay. And
on the equity side.
Correct. And
yeah.
I would say to you that this is the double bottom kind of happened in February. This is the triple bottom. And it's, lower than this low that we made in February. But again, the market is still strong especially when you not so much the S&Ps and the Russell, but the Dow and the SPOOs are still hanging in there. They're, not far, a couple per points off the all-time highs. So really not a big deal there. But again, this value area of 89.60 or so, as long as that kind of holds and we don't close on a month low below this, I think this thing is almost exhausted. We're making higher lows on the momentum, so there's not a push to sell more and more here at the bottom. So even if you take out that price, something's going to have to come in. There's going to have to be some volume. It's been very weak. Again, very good volume on the upside, very weak volume on the downside. So the selling is not too exciting to me, especially after 6 weeks of nonstop selling, right? So I just think that I think at some point there's going to be some news, whether it's continuation of this COVID exposure bullshit, basically more and more comes out against Gates, Fauci, et cetera. That could be, to your point, this is a long-winded way of saying, if you can earn the trust back of the currency community, things could change pretty quickly on this thing. And right now, the administration that we have in place is not providing any semblance of anything but chaos, right? All they're creating is crisis after crisis after crisis.
Not only that, it's amazing how they're pipelining crises up for us.
Yes.
As we saw the headline yesterday, terrorism is gonna wield its ugly head as soon as the lockdowns end. Thanks for fucking saying that.
Exactly. The fear factor again is just through the roof. So again, we can talk about digital yuan failing, and that's great, but the digital dollar or the hard dollar is still not looking too good. But I think there's going, they just have to shake the trees.
Let me ask you this, because and maybe we don't have all the information, but in general, the dollar, your thought process is the dollar will strengthen on an equity collapse or equity weakening.
Yeah, whether it's coincidental or supplemental, I'm not trying to say one leads the other. I'm just saying that has been what the dollar has done. I mean, if you look at the chart here, it's been just going down and down and down, and right, it goes, and this is a longer term chart. And again, you still have these levels over here. So for me, I've said this all along, unless it gets under 88, that's still been my bottom. I'm wrong in the trade if we start closing below 88. So
Right on. All right, perfect.
And that was the same story back in here when everybody was like, oh, dollar's going to zero. I'm like, is it? I mean, we've been here before. And if you look back even further, it's still like you start looking at a monthly chart, Bob, this is a bullish chart. I mean, it's bullish. We're not making new lows. We're not taking out, the 70 level that we were at, in 08 when Bush 2 was ending his debacle. But well, I mean, I'm just saying. And then, it's interesting, I think, that all this time, everybody, it's just like the gold bugs, right? It's the same trade. Like the gold, people are calling for it to go to the moon. Shit, we have inflation and it can't take out old highs on the gold side too. So yeah. I don't know what to say, but it feels to me like it's much ado about nothing.
All right, Matt, let's talk crypto.
Before you do, I want to talk a little sports, Bob. And again, I don't know if people know, but we had game 3, 4, 5, I think last night in the Stanley Cup. And if you're not paying attention, let me just share a little bit. But what I've got to say is last night, if you watched any of it, it was fantastic. Listen to the 12,000 fans at Nashville last night.
Came over as well, past the
wait.
Scores! Philip Forsberg darting in, makes
I have no idea what's going on in the.
Look at that! Look at that!
I had season tickets for the Blackhawks for a decade.
I don't think they made the playoffs.
No, of course they didn't. They suck.
So
but is it Canadian teams playing Canadian teams and then the Stanley?
I have not done my homework.
All right, we're gonna have a detailed discussion tomorrow about.
We had 3 overtime games last night. It was so fun. And by the way, Bob, I can't believe you haven't brought this up into our sports because you got to bring it up. Did you see who won the college NCAA soccer last night?
Bring that Thundering Herd.
Bring that in for us. Randy Moss's alma mater.
I don't have it, man.
I sent it to you, mother.
What I didn't understand, when I first saw it, it said the 2020.
But here's the thing, Bob, about Indiana. I don't know if you know this.
There are major. They're major soccer powerhouse.
It's like seriously. It would be like Western Michigan upsetting UCLA in 1972 after their 100-game, or 10-year non-loss streak. This is what it would be like if Western Michigan upset UCLA and John Wooden, right? That's what happened last night. It went into overtime. It was 0-0. What a great, and one guy in the field looked like me. I'm like, how's that guy playing soccer? He looked like he was like 245 pounds. And he was pretty good. And he was just taking out people. He was on the Thundering Herd. It was awesome. It was fantastic.
Just a big boy on defense?
Yeah.
Not a striker.
Yeah, he was more of a striker, and he was delivering the ball. He was great with his feet, obviously, and again, I'm not even a soccer fan. I hate the game, but there was fans. It was packed. It was in Cary, North Carolina. Right there, and in the triangle, Research Triangle, where they do a lot of these events, and it was packed. Thundering Herd were overwhelmingly going crazy versus the IU fans. It was fantastic. Fans are back. You know what? If there was no fans, Bob, I would have not watched that boring ass 0-0. All I would hear is the whistle and guys, flopping and doing
all in. All right, man, let's talk crypto.
Cut me off.
We go crypto silent mode. No audio in the crypto. Again, I got to tell you the production engineer needs to get fired, dude. We need to bring him behind the woodshed. Even Wood's getting woodshedded. Man, I wanted to talk about this because I want to talk about 2 things. This one first. Davie Portnoy, dude, he's just, say what you will about him and his inability to preserve his generational wealth with Penn Gaming stock. But he's killing me. It was one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. His what do you call it when you his reveal on what shitcoin he's going to put his brand behind. And it was excellent. It was well done. Safe Moon. He's part of the Safe Moon Army. He's got a great graphic of him on the moon with his head, and he's like, "What is Safe Moon?" I have no fucking idea what it is. I just like the word moon. Anyway, it shows kind of where we are in crypto. And I honestly don't like this part of it, that there are a ton of shills, there are a ton of bullshit scam tokens out there, and it just clouds the area. And maybe it's not any different, Matt, than the beginning of the web, and everything was going to be a .com success story, and you were able to raise money just by having a cute name for your website. It seems to me the same type of actors are playing here in the crypto space. I don't know. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, it was funny. And he calls them shit coins. I call them pet rocks. I'm a little nicer, but we have the same message.
Right on.
I
just wanted to share this.
I believed in the internet in the 90s. I don't believe in shit coins. I don't.
All right.
I still don't believe in them. Again,
that's a non-believer. I wanted to share this, and it was from Dan Held.
Hey, Bob, one way in the last decade that shit coins have affected my life. One way.
I'm not saying that they invented. Wait a second.
Wait, don't tap dance
in like 1880.
What?
They invented the automobile, the combustion engine automobile in 1880. It wasn't until the 19-teens that it actually changed the world.
Well, it's because
that's kind of my thought on cryptography, blockchain.
The utility there is obvious. I mean, if I have a motor that can do the work of 12.
Wait a second here. So you're telling me the utility of having a decentralized third party that keeps
why is it okay? But it's not. It shouldn't take 30 years. If it's so powerful, it should have taken like 3 days.
I disagree. Anyway, I just wanted to share this. Bitcoin is a super commodity minted from energy, the fundamental commodity of the universe. I like where he is going here, that you need the third party is the energy, and just the setup of it, the most profitable people will be the people that generate energy or electricity for the cheapest amount. They become the most efficient, the biggest money makers in it. So the system itself is designed to solve cheap energy to mine Bitcoin. I don't know. I just wanted to throw it out there. Matt, Bitcoin's still kind of just waddling. We'll call it a waddle around the $42,000 to $44,000 area. It just doesn't look good to me, though. I mean, the weekly, I said it yesterday, until we get down to one of these much longer time frame areas for you on the profile, and for me, when I go out to the monthly average, Matt, on standard deviation modeling is 26,700. And I know you have some area, and the other one that we talked about was 32,000. I think that this has just begun, this break. We're 2 months into it now. This is the second month off of that high that we put in. And I think we probably have at least, I mean, if you look back in time here, I'm just looking at the monthly chart here. There's 7, 8, 9 months of downward price action available if we revisit recent history.
Right.
So,
same numbers. I mean, I still see 30, 32, 20, 10. I mean, it's very basic where the levels are. It's kind of round number bingo because of all the bras that are in it. We're going to go to
put that. We get to put that into the description of the show. Bitcoin round number bingo. Yep. 42, 32,
20,000, 10,000.
Right on.
I mean, it's basically the even numbers. It's just like, people they're magic to the bras, whether it's 10,000, 20,000. Remember, I mean, just think about it. The way this thing trades 30. I mean, it's just like, oh, that's a big number. Why? What does it mean? What does it mean to you? It's just a big number. It's a big round, even number. It's really exciting. Super exciting.
All right, that's
let,
it.
let me
That's
let me
all
show
we
you the
got.
screen.
That's the
Let me
show.
show you a screen real quick on Bitcoin, because what I noticed here, and this is just a short-term chart, we bottomed down here at 42, had a nice 10% rally, right on schedule, right to the top of the profile. Now we're testing again. So again, very tradable in here. If you have a two-way account where you can buy and sell short Bitcoin, I love the action here. It goes right there. You could have left your sell in, put your buy in, sell it, get short. Add to your short on the second little nibble here. When it comes back, it doesn't break the first time, and now you got your 10%. So you just made 20% in about 2 days, and nothing. You're no more pained than you were 2 days ago when it made that $42,000 low. Now, will we break through it here, or will we have another bounce up to 50,000? Those are your kind of options I see here.
Matt, come and join the party. Won't you come and join the party? Eminence Front.
It's an Eminence Front.
It's an Eminence Front.
It's a put on.
It's a put on.
Pet rocks are a put on.
All right, Matt, I think Pet Rocks have the best chance, some of them, to taking the equation of people and their sometimes questionable motivations.
Speaking of questionable motivations, I'll just also, since we've been talking Preakness and Triple Crown, which we won't have this year, a Triple Crown winner, Bob, what's his name?
Bob Baffert.
Baffert. He has been banned. Any and all of his products, horses, studs, will be banned from the Belmont Stakes until this is resolved. So
the urine and the ointment,
which means not only will the Derby winner not be there, but any of his horses, which we might have a 3-horse field, because I think he pretty much owns every horse now.
Well, Matt, listen, I want to come and join the party dressed to kill. And we will be doing that soon. Let me read the lyrics. The sun shines and people forget. The spray flies as the speedboat glides, and people forget they're hiding. The girls smile and people forget. The snow packs, and as the skiers tracks, people forget they're hiding, Matt.
Yeah.
Behind an Eminence Front. An Eminence Front, it's a put on. It's a fucking put on. It's an Eminence Front. I'm adding a few extra lyrics here. Come and join the party dressed to kill. Won't you come and join the party dressed to kill? Dressed to kill. Drinks flow, Matt. People forget.
Yeah.
The big wheel spins. The hair thins. People forget. Forget they're hiding. The news slows. People forget. Their shares crash. Hopes are dashed. People forget. Matt, rinse, repeat on humanity. Anyway, I miss killer arena symphonic rock.
Right.
The Who. Please crank up some Who. The Who. Who the fuck are you?
Who the
Please
fuck are you?
Marketvitals.io.
If you've never Bob, I don't know. Did you ever see him? The one time I saw him was their first farewell tour, sophomore year high school, 1982, at the Pontiac Silverdome.
I've been there.
With the reason I actually wanted to go, I was a new Who fan then. I still hadn't gotten to their old catalog. I was a new, 15, 16-year-old kid. But I was a huge, at that time, Clash fan. And the Clash, Combat Rock, was out right that same year. And dude, they fucking opened. There was 3 bands. It was the Clash, Eddie Money, and then the Who. Those were at the Silverdome with 80,000 fans. General admission. It was scary down there on the floor because they literally, this was after the people got crushed in Cincy, like in '79. So everybody's thinking about this already. It's the Who, crazy fans, right? And people, it was out of control. They let people in like 12 hours before the show started. It was early September. Of course, we, skipped school, did the whole thing. Drinking starting at 10 in the morning. The concert didn't start until 10 at night, basically. It was insane. And the people just rushing out of the stands onto the floor. It was like a game of what did you call that? Where you had remember that old thing with the spring that you had to pull back and pull the pieces out before the thing shot up.
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember that game? It was like a wood board, and you would put in all these different shape pieces. It was like a horizontal version of Jenga.
Oh, yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I digress.
Our homework for the day for all you followers is to crank up the Who song of your generation and play it loud on 11.
But I'll tell you that. So the Clash played for an hour and a half. Eddie Money played for an hour, and the Who played for 3. Dude, it was an epic 5-hour, 6-hour show after waiting for about a dozen. So it was a good day.
All right, Matt. Thank you as always for sharing. Please visit us at marketvitals.io. Please retweet and share the podcast far and wide. Thank you, Matt.
It's a put on.
It's a put on.